On Twitter this afternoon, one of your followers made a request. Is this right? Okay.
I believe that was Joanna Young, CIO of Michigan State University.
You're right. So it may take me a minute, but I came up with an idea.
Ah, cool. I think Joanna's watching. And by the way, Saul Kaplan is watching. He's tweeting about the show live. Hello, Saul.
Hi, Saul. We can keep talking because this will take me a few minutes.
Sure.
See, I think this is kind of... See, what I totally... See, the thing for me is, okay, I'm watching this, and I'm seeing it take shape, and like the logical part of my mind understands what's happening here, but yet I totally have yet to come to grips with the fact that this thing is taking shape, this representation of a person, and it's the story that's happening as you're drawing, right? Beginning with just like the shape of the head, and then the computer, and then the table, and now out of the story there's another person, and it's the first one. It's hard to tell if it's a man or a woman, and now clearly there's a woman here, and she's having some type of interaction or exchange or dynamic with this man, and this is all emerging out of your mind, and obviously, okay, so it appears to be some kind of office, and what the hell is going on here? And this is just emerging as we're talking. And where is this coming from? And so what actually is taking place here? And so there's this like aspect of it that I just find magical. And the story is sort of happening. Okay, so she's sitting on a chair, and definitely this is some type of work environment, with a big conference table. And there's some action happening here.
So I'm going to do this, and you'll know that that's a woman, right? I shouldn't have to do that, but...
Yep.
And
there's probably parts of her anatomy that I didn't quite pick up.
But even still, with and this table is a little funky, but... Oh,
yes, and it's also small on my screen, but... okay,
right.
So you have these two women, and looks like a job interview, maybe. Oh, wait.
Ah.
And so there's actually something else going on here.
He has his back to the woman.
Oh my, so there's like this whole social vignette that's taking place.
This is so interesting. I've never done it. I've drawn live for people before, but I've never drawn live and people comment on what I'm doing.
The live cartoon commentary.
Yeah.
Is Michael's commentary changing the story? I hope not.
No, I have the story pretty thought out.
Okay, so we have this kind of like dual...
high school lunchroom. The boys are together and the girls are together.
All right.
I hope Joanna Young is watching. This was inspired by your request on Twitter, which is pretty cool.
Oh, so there's this whole scene that's taking place here. I feel like, it's funny, it's all visual, but I feel like I'm reading a novel and I'm sort of observing the story unfold and wondering what the end of the story will be.
Right.
Right? Even though it's visual, it's like somehow mentally it becomes no different really than a novel in terms of the unfolding.
Interesting. Let's see.
I hope this one makes it into the New Yorker.
And people, by the way, are loving this on Twitter. Scott Allen remarks, this is emerging live cartooning.
And
Mark C.
Joanna Young is watching. That's awesome.
Good.
And she says, fascinating. Mark C. Title, I'm not sure, Titty, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, says, what a cartoon can do. Thanks for creating and sharing.
By the way, Liza, Joanna is truly one of the top CIOs in the country.
Oh, really? Wow.
Absolutely, absolutely. So hopefully
follow
at
each other
some
on
point your paths will cross, even
Yeah.
on Twitter.
Where is she?
Awesome, terrific. She's brilliant.
Okay, I have to remember.
Her home is, I believe, still New Hampshire, but she's the CIO of one of the largest colleges, universities in the country now. So.
At in Michigan.
Yep, Michigan State. Michigan University. Yep.
Okay, so we have the story is the emerging story looks like it is coming to completion. Constant Woodston says, fabulous live cartooning. In my opinion, I see team dynamics into play. Hey, folks that are listening on Twitter, share us your thoughts on what you're seeing here. And by the way, sign up for the CXOTalk newsletter. If you like these, just let us send you our newsletter. We'd love to do that. So we do have this kind of lunchroom thing that's going on, as Vala mentioned, of the men hanging together and the women. And so they hired you last year, and they hired me this year. And then the other lady responds. This is so amazing to like watch this story unfold.
It's awesome.
And they consider this doing better.
Doing better.
Basically, yeah. So you have sort of symbolic women being hired or left on the side where the actual stuff of business is taking place, excluding them. Which relates to, Liza, to what you were just talking about earlier. And by the way, Joanna, who Vala was mentioning, is unique in that she's one of the relatively few female CIOs in the country. I mean, there are quite a few, but certainly at the scale of organizational size that she's at is quite unusual. And this relates back to what you were saying earlier, that we're not conscious or aware of, say, when there's a lack of female participants in movies or in TV shows, for example.
And we see some change happening, but the change that and that's good. The hiring of women is not fast enough in many cases, but it's the culture, it's the tone of the culture that also needs to change.